Okay, so good afternoon to all IEM and UEM family members once again. And today the topic is English phonetics. It's interesting. So Dr. Snehlata Dhaka, who is from the Department of Basic Science and Humanities of UEM Jaipur, will be presenting today. So Dr. Dhaka, you may kindly take over and go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, the complete higher administration, for giving me this golden opportunity to share some of my ideas related to English phonetics. First, before I start my lecture, I want to wish you all a very healthy state of life in present pandemic times, and I expect that everybody is very much healthy and fine at their places. Thank you. As a language teacher, when I was assigned this opportunity to discuss some of the points in form of this lecture, I thought that this particular topic would be quite suitable to discuss about, because nowadays, whatever traditional method we adopt in our formal educational system, in that although there are much arrangements for teaching English in terms of written proficiency, but as a language teacher, I have observed continually in past 15 to 16 years that there is not much arrangement for the proficiency level of oral English, at least in India, I can talk about. So when the students enter into higher education, at that particular juncture, the students face lot of problem regarding the speaking aspect in English. And as a language teacher, we have observed maximum time that there are certain percentage of students who have much knowledge regarding the linguistics, regarding the comprehensive aspect of English, but they are very much hesitant to speak English, because the level of hesitations or the level of difficulties these students I observed as a teacher is that sometimes they do not have the exact words in their mind. And many a time even I have observed that although the students have the exact words related to context in their mind, but they do not know the correct pronunciation of that word. So that becomes a great difficulty for these students to express themselves. And even in many of the placement activities nowadays, I have observed, and even many of you will agree with the point, that maximum of the companies nowadays have adopted this method also of selecting the suitable candidates for their various jobs in their organizations who could speak fluent English, or at least who could speak a comfortable level of English. Okay, so what my point is that they give due weightage to the speaking aspect of English. So in that context, it becomes very much compulsory to create certain type of environment so that these students could have at least some basic perspectives of English phonetics, so that they could anyhow lessen their hesitation level in the speaking aspect of English language. So I will be sharing some of the points related to these aspects, and I will try my best that I could articulate my point clearly in terms of telling about what are the basic sounds in English and how those are transcribed. So even the teachers and the students can use these informations to somehow help the students for speaking English. So as English is a commonly spoken language and it is a language, so let us check that how to define a language. So it is arbitrary system of articulated sounds used by human beings for communication and expression. So for one or the other reason, for and at one or the other place, we human beings are all the time using some language for the communication purpose. Or indirectly, I can say that whatever civilization on this earth we are evident of, that all is resultant of one or the other language only. So that is the importance of any language to be learnt. And when that language becomes the global language or the language of the complete world, then it becomes extremely compulsory for at least the persons who are aspiring for uh, the good professions and the very, we can say, bright settlements in their life. So it becomes extremely important for those people, those professionals, to be proficient in that global language. And we all know, we all are quite evident of that, that English is of that status. So like other languages also, the English language has sounds, words, sentences, and meanings. So that is how it is a very important medium of communication and expression. And before going into more details, let us check that each and every language has the different levels of analysis. Let it be, it is a formal analysis or it is a comprehensive analysis of any point. We need to check all these uh, 5 aspects in every language. So in English also, we will be checking all these aspects, all these levels. The first one is phonological, that is related to sound, whether whatever has been spoken, that has been correctly perceived by the other side or not, that comes into the category of phonology. So if we talk about phonology, then we will not use the term sound, we will not use the term word, we will use the term sound. As I can say that at present, I am creating English sounds, and the other side, the audience side, is perceiving the English sounds. So that is termed as what? Phonological aspect of any language. So each language has that spoken aspect also. So that should be definitely worked upon so that the communication can effectively happen. Then the second level is morphological, that is related to word. So each and every language has its own list of words. So when we are using a particular language, we are definitely supposed to use the words of that language only. So that also one has to exercise about. Then the third one is lexical aspect of the language, that is related to the types of words one uses to say some information. As see, for the very concept language, okay, I could have even said that language means the communication medium. But as you can observe here, that in the very first sentences, I have used certain different words to say the same information. So these certain words are termed as what? Lexicon. So what words one chooses to say some information, that also makes the difference. As all the time, uh, at least I can claim that language teachers say to the students of higher education that now you have to use the advanced words. Now you have to use the advanced terminologies. You should not now use the very simple words which any of the laymen or any of the student of primary section uses. Now you have to go for some advanced words for the information. So that is what we are talking about, lexicon. So again, it is very much aspect of a language which has to be worked on by the professionals or the personals for the workplace. Now, the fourth one is syntactic, that is related to the grammatical aspect, I must say, the word which is very much familiar. As I've written here, related to arrangement of words in a sentence. So, words which are arranged in a sentences that are always arranged uh, according to the grammatical rules of that particular language. So, again, it is very much expected that whatever formal write-ups are there, whatever formal correspondence happens at a workplace, that should be grammatically correct most of the time. So that again is a very important thing which has to be analyzed in a language. And the fifth one, and not very less important, it is extremely important, semantics, that is related to the context or the meaning which comes out by that sentence formation and the words used in that language for the communication purpose. So whatever meaning, as we talk in terms of communication, whatever meaning the sender wants to communicate, if it is up to 60, 70, 80% perceived by the receiver, then we can say that the semantic aspect of the language has also been achieved. So these are the various aspects of language, or we can say these are the various levels of proficiency which are expected in a language, and definitely these are expected for a professional place, for a workplace. But I will not take here rest of the other parts. I will just focus on this first aspect of language, that is phonological aspect of language. So if I relate this with English language, then we have observed in our surrounding that English is spoken over a large part of world, but at the very same time, it is spoken in different accents. Many a time we observe in our surrounding that although the person is speaking English, but not a single word or the 50% of the content was not understood by the other side. So that happens due to the accentual difference. And we can see in the second point here, I'm not reading between the lines. See, the second point, one minute. USA, UK, Canada, and Australia are the native speakers of the language. So we can, at basic level, okay, these are the major native places of English speaking. And these are, even we can assume, according to this information, that these are the existing accents. So various accents are existing. Except these, many other accents are also there. Even if we talk about India, okay, we have lot many varieties of accents in English itself. If we move to uh, the northern part of Indian state, we have a different English to listen. And if we move to the eastern region, again, there is slight difference in the accent of English itself. And if we move to the western region or the southern region, okay, we find that difference of accent in English itself. The very common language is used, but with different accents. And when this accent becomes very complicated, as it becomes due to the last point you can observe here, it is due to the mother tongue influence. Okay, the variation in that accent happens due to this mother tongue influence in English. Okay, even this can happen in Hindi. So because of this mother tongue influence, the accent varies, and because of this varied accent, many a time it happens that whatever has been spoken by the speaker, that is not at all understood, or that is less understood, or we can say many of the important informations are missed by the audience. So there became a necessity at world level. It is not so that this situation is only happening in India. It is happening worldwide, and so the necessity was observed by the linguists that we must have a standard accent, and that should be uh, taught, that should be learned by the speakers, English speakers, so that at least we can have a common comprehensive accent and people can uh, communicate effectively. Okay, so for that reason, later on steps were raised by many of the linguists. So I will just put some light on that also. See before going into that, see this point, it is retained to some extent that the phonetic patterns of the Indian language spoken in particular region. Okay, so that mother tongue influence retention is there even in English, even in Hindi. So we we the person at least who belong to the formal education or the formal setup, we have the responsibility to avoid that type of situation in a language which we are using at a workplace. So for that we have to make out some steps. Now for that, the very terminologies which comes to our mind or which we have to focus on regarding the sound system of language, that is phonology, phonetics, phonemics, and phonics. Okay, maybe these terminologies seems to be very similar, but they have the technical difference. So when I'm talking about the sound system, so definitely I'm referring to phonology. I'm talking about the complete system, complete sound system of English language. Okay, in that the sounds, the actual existing English sounds are included, the manner of the production of those sounds, okay, that is also included, and even the non-verbal aspect of producing those sounds is also included. Okay, so when collectively we think of all these things, it becomes phonology, and when we relate this with English language, definitely it is English phonology we need to check. So phonetics, it is the all existing sounds. If we relate it with English, all existing sounds of English. Phonemics, okay, the significance of the sounds. Each sound has its significance in the language. Okay, so that also has to be checked. Significance, I mean to say how that particular sound has to be pronounced, how that particular sound has to be written, okay, how much stress has to be used, how much force has to be used to utter that sound. So all these informations one has to learn, then only one can make more and more efficiency in the pronunciation part of the language. And phonics means teaching and reading the sounds. So if we relate it with English, definitely we are relating the English phonics. So this is my focus point. I'm much concerned about English phonics, at least in higher educational institutions. That has to be taken care of. And even I as a teacher uh, think that this has to be introduced at a very early stage of our formal education system. So whatever difficulties the students in higher education face, that can be lessened up to some extent. Now, what do we mean by phonetics? It involves the sounds and patterns of speech used for a language. And it is a scientific study of the articulation, transmission, and reception of speech sound. So all these three steps should be definitely there for the phonetics to understand. Okay, it is not only a matter of speaking, how that has been transmitted, how that has been received, that also is included in phonetics. And this is how we can understand the concept easily. The word can be divided in two parts. Phone, it means sound. Etic, the study of language. Okay, so the study of sound language, that is termed as what? Phonetics. So it becomes very easy for a person. If the person has that knowledge of phonetics of any language, then person can increase the efficiency level of speaking that language. So at least if we talk about English language, in 1886 International Phonetic Association was established, and that International Phonetic Association gave the International Phonetic Alphabets in 1888. Okay, these alphabets are indirectly termed as English sounds. So for the alphabets, even we can use the term sounds. So don't get confused by this particular date. The association was established in 1886, and the alphabets, the sounds, the standard English sounds were given in 1888. And in short, the abbreviated form we commonly use, that is IPA. So what is that? It is a system of phonetic notation devised by linguists. It provides standardized, accurate, and unique way of sound representation of English. So this particular objective of this IPA resolves all our problem regarding the accentual differences in this language. Because as English has gained that status of global language, or we can say global workplace language, so definitely we all need to have that standard, or at least that comprehensive level of articulation in English. And now this IPA has categorized the sounds in three categories. The first category is letters, that includes all the basic sounds of English language. Then the second category is diacritics. It includes the specification of sounds. What do we mean by specification of sounds? That how that particular sound will be pronounced, how that particular sound will be written, and if there is a particular sound which represents two English alphabets similar, or we can say two English alphabets, sorry, one English alphabet if reflects two sounds. For example, CH, okay, it is uttered as k also, it is uttered as ch also. So these type of specification we learn in diacritics of English phonetics. So that also has been already defined by the English linguists. So one can go through these informations and improve the pronunciation of English. Then the third category is suprasegmentals, that includes the sound qualities like speed, tone, stress. Again, these are the non-verbal aspects of English, of language, but they create lot of difference. Many a time we observe in our classrooms and even in our surrounding that with the tone itself, the meaning is conveyed, okay, or the meaning changes. So that is again one of the very interesting aspect of phonetics, and that is called as what? Suprasegmentals. And in simple words, or if we relate it with communication, paralinguistics, that is included in suprasegmentals. Now, what is phonetic transcription? As I earlier mentioned, that IPA has given us the standard sounds of English. Okay, so those sounds can be transcribed, and that transcription can be taught and learned. And this is how one can improve the pronunciation part of English language or the spoken aspect of English language. So that is, it is representation of sounds by written symbols. It helps to speak correct sounds of the language. If one knows, if one can identify the phonetic transcription of a word, okay, one can easily correct his or her pronunciation of that sound. So that is also phonetic transcription. Now, in English language, we have been provided by IPA 44 sounds. See, I will just mention one point here so that things could be more clear. See, all of us time to time check the dictionaries. Okay, in dictionaries, with each English word, we find some inscription written in between slashes. That is the phonetic transcription. So if we have that information, that this is the phonetic transcription, this is the sound system of this word, and if we know those symbols, okay, we can easily or independently correct our pronunciation. We do not require any other person to correct us always, or uh, we need not to approach the other people all the time for all these type of corrections. So that is the thing. And one more thing I will state here itself, that when we started learning English, we started learning through the alphabets. Okay, and that was for the written English. So one level came when we are quite competent in that written English. We can identify the alphabets, we can write down the words, we can write down the sentences, we can write down the paragraphs, and finally we can write so many other forms of write-ups. So likewise, if we learn these 44 sounds, their symbols, then definitely we can make improvement, we can make some difference in our English pronunciation also. So I will quickly give a glance of all these existing 44 sounds and their symbols, okay, and their uses in English words, which has been directed by IPA. See, as I mentioned earlier, that we have 44 sounds, and these 44 sounds are divided in two subcategories: vowel sounds and consonant sounds. So we have 20 vowel sounds in English, and the remaining 24 are the consonant sounds in English. So it is not that much difficult. We can quickly learn all these 44 symbols, and we can day-to-day practice at least with the very minimum number of words, and the day will come we can improve our English pronunciation easily, independently. So what are these 20 vowel sounds and what are these 24 consonant sounds? Let us check that. Again, the vowel sounds have the subcategories, but I will not go into more details here because of the time constraint. Quickly, I will read out. See, these are the 20 vowel sounds. Here in the very left direction, you can see that there is some inscription written in between slashes. So these are the symbols, okay? And these symbols represent a particular sound. And this is the pattern of writing the sounds in English language. If the slashes are not there, it is not the sound symbol. So slashes are compulsory. Okay, so these are the symbols for the English sounds that we have to definitely check. This is E sound, E, E, A, A, O, U, U, A. These are the 12 monophthongs, and then we have remaining 8 diphthongs: A, Ow, I, ow, oi, ear, oo. So these are the total 20 vowel sounds. We have to, as we learned alphabets, their structures in our earlier stage of formal learning. Likewise, we can learn these and then we can go for the correct pronunciation. We can even cross check whether the pronunciation is correct or not, and we can ourselves practice for the correct pronunciation. And see, these further explanations are uh, regarding the information that this E sound exists in English in starting itself. It can also exist in middle of the words. It also exists in the end, key. If I request our administration to give me one more opportunity, I can I will be discussing more details about all these things later on. And just quickly completing this, then this E sound, E, it is also existing in English in starting, in middle, even in the end. Duty. It's not duty, duty. The correct pronunciation is duty. Then A sound, it again is existing in the starting, in the middle, and you see a blank space here. It means that the sound does not exist, or 99% it does not exist in English language in the end. But we have certain words in English, okay, which sound A in the end. For example, cafe, cafe. But we need to remember here that English is a very live language, and we also know this fact that there is a long list of words in English language which are borrowed from different other languages of this world, and English has such a lively feature that the English has accepted those words as it is, with their spellings, sometimes even with their pronunciation. Okay, so if somebody says cafe, that is not the English pronunciation. Okay, that is the pronunciation of the French language, or maybe sometime there is slight change in the pronunciation in the advertisement area or some other aspect due to some other constraints. Okay, but whatever standard English says, that A sound either 100% or 99% does not exist in the end. So this particular thing is very much interesting and a very much learning aspect. Now this sound a, next sound a, it exists in the starting, and also it exists in the middle state of words. Again you find a blank space here. It means the sound either 100% or 99%, it does not exist in the end of English words. I will give one very common example here itself, so the point will be more clear. See, the word resume, resume, although the alphabet E comes in the end, okay, but when we talk about English pronunciation, it has to be uttered correctly, resume. That is the correct pronunciation in English language. But most of the time we hear, we listen, people speak it resume. The pronunciation is not incorrect because that is the French pronunciation and the word has been borrowed from French language. So the pronunciation is not incorrect, but that is not English pronunciation. That we have to understand. That is how we have to understand English phonetics, because we have a long list. When I myself was teaching in English class and I was talking about word formation, that time we discussed so many words in the class with the students that even students were surprised and I myself was surprised that till the time we were thinking that the words were part of English language, but these are the borrowed words. So we have to check first whether the word is a borrowed word or it is originally English word. Accordingly, we have to apply the English phonetic rules on that. Now, the next vowel sound, that is ah, ah. That is arm, harm, ka. car. So it exists in the starting, it exists in the middle state also of the words, also it exists in the end. Likewise, aw, on, caught. Again, the blank space denotes that this particular sound or either 100% or 99% does not exist in English language in end. Okay, so if somebody is pronouncing, then one has to check the pronunciation, check the phonetic transcription and make the correction of that. So all these sounds will help us a lot to improve our English pronunciation. Now the next one I will quickly give a glimpse of that, and those are consonant sounds. Those are 24 in number in English language. See, p, b, these are the sounds, these are not the alphabets. So we have to clarify these to students that these are sounds and those are to be learnt in this manner itself. If we will go for another method, if we will go for any type of comparison, then these informations will be confused. So no need to compare these with the others and learn them as it is. P, b, t, d, k, j. Sorry, g, g, ch, j, j. This is j sound. M, n, ng, l, f, v, th, d, s, z, sh, j, j, h, r, v, y. This is the symbol of y. This is the symbol of y sound. And you can see here in the table that y sound, it exists in the initial state of words. Also, it is existing in the middle state of words, but it does not exist in the end. So either we can claim that 100% or 99%, none of the English word ends with y sound. Okay, if we find some words, let it be those are part of English language, but those are the words from different other languages. So as it is, the pronunciation and the spelling is accepted in the language. So with this, I will complete my presentation here itself.
So would you like me, madam, to shoot the polls now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I have launched the poll. I would request everyone to kindly vote. And we can again wait up to 1 minute. Voting is slow today. I don't know the reason, but maybe it will speed up. Okay, it has taken some speed. I request all of you to kindly vote. We have received 36% votes already. Okay, so we have received 45% votes, 47% votes. So we can wait for 8 more seconds, 7 more seconds. We have received 49% votes. So today we are struggling to reach even 50%. Okay, so 1 minute over, 50% votes not received today. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm closing it and sharing the results. So you can see in the results, 47% says with correct phonetics, 48% without correct phonetics. I think there is some misinterpretation of the question over here, for which 47% and 48%, these two figures for the first two numbers, for first two options have almost matched. So it is basically oral communication lacks this last one impression, whether with correct phonetics or without correct phonetics. So definitely if the phonetics is not correct, it will lack the impression. So definitely it should have been this second option, but I'm sure those who have opted for the first option thought that way only, that the correct phonetics is not there, then it will lack. Anyway, your comments, madam. Hello.
Yes. Hello, sir.
Your
Sir, I would
comments,
like,
madam.
so I want to sum up my presentation with an opinion that at least now we have to establish certain type of systems so that we can at from very early stage of formal learning we can anyhow make students learn about correct phonetics of English language, and the students could be helped up to much extent at later stage of their life for their performances and having better opportunities in their hands and better performances by them at their workplaces or whatever places they are.
Okay, so there are few questions in the questions box. So let
Fine, sir.
me try to very quickly reach the first question. There are few. Okay, so most probably I have reached the first question by Professor Shobhik Mitra. He says, Madam, does the knowledge of phonetics help in our articulation and accent in a better manner? Nowadays, youngsters, without understanding the implications, start imitating the UK or the United Kingdom or the United States. How, as educators, we can suggest them?
Rightly said, sir. That was the point I was continually making in my complete presentation, that definitely when it comes a matter of the speakers who are using English as a second language in their countries or at their workplaces, uh, they should definitely have some basic information, basic perspective about standard English phonetics, so that they can perform well, they can uh, speak correctly, they can speak effectively, and things could be comprehensive for others. See, and we cannot deny this fact that definitely whatever accents are existing in this world, those are uh, imitated, because we till now in our traditional system of education we do not have that arrangement of teaching English phonetics. As I remember, just 2 3 years back, for 1 or 2 years there was some arrangement in here, the Rajasthan state, I can say, to teach phonetics, but later on it was withdrawn. I don't know why it happened, but later on the requirement was felt, and nowadays from past 10 to 12 years in higher education, the Rajasthan state has introduced this phonetics due to the need of the hour of giving some information about the English phonetics to the students, so that they can effectively use this language when it comes a matter of speaking. And one more thing I will add here, sir, that till now we had that type of arrangement only to learn the speaking aspect of language, that was the imitation. When we listened someone who was speaking in a particular language, we imitated, we listened that particular sound, and we tried to follow the same information when it was a matter of our practice or our performance. So now it is right time to make a slight shift in that approach, and that we can definitely do through formal education system, because we have maximum approach with maximum populace, so we can do it effectively now.
So the next question is interesting from Professor Srima Nandi. She writes, speakers in South India cannot differentiate between the consonant sounds P and B as they are bilabial plosives. So puja is pronounced as puja. Acha. Similarly, among Bengalis, the consonant sounds V and B are not distinct. Example, vote and vote. How can language teachers rectify these issues among the speakers?
For that, the very sole, we can say the very sole remedy I'm talking about, we have to teach them this IPA sounds, okay, which has been provided to us. And now I find as a language teacher, it has become easy with this IPA sound. The standard structure has been given to us, the standard common unique pronunciation has been given by the IPA. So we can, at least in classroom, we can practice. And whenever we have the opportunity in form of our workshops or any other certain type of academic activities, we can practice to at least put forward our informations. And if suppose 40% of the audience is able to grasp that information and implement that information, then it is a matter of great success for us as a teacher. And definitely, ma'am, I agree with the point that the South Indians and many other people, okay, even the North Indians can be identified. They're identified uh, about their place also, place of belonging. See, that is termed as what? Mother tongue influence. Then that's what I'm talking about. That has to be lessened. Okay, if that is lessened, then the standard pronunciation portion will be increased, and that will be more effective, and that will be more comprehensive also at the same time. For that only this IPA was developed, and this provided us this these 44 sounds and their
Okay.
symbols. So that can be formally taught and that can be formally learned, and we can even practice them. And it is not that much difficult task.
Okay. So when I am speaking, see, I have been to two places, mainly stayed in two places for a long period of time. I have been to almost all states of the country, but I have mostly stayed in Bengal and Rajasthan. In Bengal, I would like to clarify to my students that when you speak within Bengal, yes, it is Bijoy, but when you speak outside of Bengal, generally they call it Vijay. So we miss that part as a Bengali. And as a Rajasthan, I consider myself an equal Rajasthani as that of a Bengali. So as a Rajasthani, I would say like we miss out on that a pronunciation. Like van
Yes, sir.
often we pronounce as vein. So
Yes, sir.
that has to be told to the people from Rajasthan time and again. And similar for Bengali, we have to specify the difference between V and B. So these are the two things in the two states that I have seen. Other states, definitely other things are there. Now, Professor Arun Kumar Chatterjee has got a question, though I don't know why he has become offline. His question is, why is the IPA not taught as a part of formal English courses? Neither is school nor letter.
So that was the point I was making, that I don't know why it happened, but nowadays it is happening. Okay, in Rajasthan, school education, I observed that earlier it was part of 11th, 12th syllabus, formal syllabus, but now again it has been withdrawn. But in higher education, it is there. In higher education, all the state universities, the phonetics is now introduced from past 10 years, and this is for the reason to bring that standard accent of English in speaking aspect.
Okay, so is it there in like NPTEL or Coursera? Is it there, madam?
Yes, sir,
It's
it
my.
is there. It is there. It is there. The courses
Have you-
are there related to this speaking English also. I
Okay,
myself
so
registered in one of the courses.
so if you can kindly send me this NPTEL details and Coursera details, maybe we can put it up in some semester and tell the students to take that
Fine,
course.
sir. Fine, sir. I'll definitely do. And sir, one more thing I will add here, that whatever Cambridge Assessment English uh, activity we are or the center we are supposed to start here in university campus, uh, that also has the same objective.
Okay,
Okay, the 50% of courses are related to the improvement of speaking English only.
okay. So an interesting question from Tina Day. What practical methodologies can be adopted to overcome mother tongue influence, MTI? I think that was taken into account in your last answer But still, if you
Yes,
would
sir.
like to add anything, what practical methodologies can be adopted to overcome MTI, mother tongue influence?
See, the practical methodology in formal classes, already we have a particular type of system, at least in technical education. I can say it with confirmation that we have the lab classes for even English subject. So in those lab classes, we can introduce the students with this complete IPA list of English sounds, and then one by one, uh, we can first clarify ourselves to the students so that students can have that fixation of information in their brain, and afterwards we can ask time to time activities from students side, which can give more clarification regarding these sounds of English which has been provided us by IPA. So we can promote IPA, sir, and that is the objective of the establishment of IPA, so that the complete world can have that standard accent of English, and the English can become more and more comprehensive and more accessible for the commoners.
Okay. So Dr. Subroto Chattopadhyay has got an interesting comment. He writes, "Wonderful session, madam. Remembered Pygmalion of GB Shaw today." Okay, that was a fantastic show of 1913. If people don't know about it, I'm sure that people know about it. Anyway, so Professor Tina Day has got another question to make. Learning correct English and applying it as the only medium of communication are two completely different aspects. How can they converge and give maximum effect?
No, these are not different aspects. If we want to learn correct, then definitely we have to go for the correct theory. If the correct theory is not there in the brain, definitely there will be confusion in further implications. So as a teacher, this is my point, that first the theory should be the correct theory which was existing. Okay, that should be there, or which has been suggested by the experts, that has to be taken care of, and that has to be implemented gradually. If we find some differences, or if we want to make some changes, we can suggest those changes and uh, those differences later on. But theory and practice is not different, sir. That is my point.
Okay. Okay, so
These are
definitely a
connected.
difference of opinion there, but yes, both opinions are acceptable. So that's why we are teachers. We are always ready to what should I say? Maybe discuss with one another and try to bring in the best possible option. Okay,
Definitely,
so
sir.
Professor Srimanandi, requests for your PPT. There are other such
Definitely, sir.
requests
I will be.
also.
I'll be sharing. I'll be sharing with you,
Okay,
sir.
okay.
You can then
Okay,
forward.
surely I will do that. I will do that. Okay, so there are some thank yous for the explanation. Rajat Pathak, sir, he writes, does too much phonetical technicalities break the flow of natural articulation? Now, over here, I would say yes, definitely your answer. If I was the answerer, I definitely, madam will answer. She is the speaker. But that is definitely yes. But then again, it does not mean that we will not learn the correct way. As much as correct way we
Yes, sir.
learn, so definitely we will be better and better with the days. Anyway, so your answer, madam.
Sir, you have answered. You have partially answered my uh, assigned question. I also have the same opinion, that definitely at the starting phase or at the initial phase, we must not interrupt the speaker with too much of technicalities or too much of perfect informations. But when the person has completed, we can just one by one give the speaker some hint of corrections. So, and I think that will not bother the speaker also, because I can claim this because I have exercised all these points in my classroom, and I never faced any type of conflict from my students. Students love
Okay.
Students love all these type of things, and we have exercised all these things in the classroom. Yes, definitely I agree with the point that because if we stop that speaker at initial state itself, that hesitation level will always continue with him or her. So first we need to bring that speaker out of that comfort zone of his, okay, or the hesitation zone of his. Then we can suggest further, we can suggest that if you want to improve, this is the correct thing. And it is quite interesting, and how it, even we can explain that person that how it is going to affect your performance.
Right.
So that will definitely a convincing aspect, and maybe it will
Okay.
be accepted.
Right. Okay, so Professor Sandeep Sodhi has written very well explained indeed. In some of the Indian schools, English is being taught with the help of phonetics, which are more like sounds in Hindi language. English being not as scientific as Hindi in its overall use. How do you feel about this methodology? Guess you have already answered this in parts, but still, would you like to kindly answer, madam?
Yes, definitely, sir. This IPA and English phonetics is talking about that scientific methodology itself. And in this scientific era, the scientific methods are more appealing for everyone. Everyone, even a layman at present asks for the reasons that why should I do this? Okay, what will be this uh, sequences or sorry consequences of this? Then only the person will accept. So definitely that scientific approach will help everyone for the
Okay.
language learning and for the proficiency in the language.
Okay, thank you, madam. Another thing is, Professor Srimanandi writes, phonetics is there in NPTEL course. So if you can kindly send me the details of the course, then maybe we can tell the students to take up this course once, and that will help them. And learning phonetics will definitely also help them to with a better pronunciation, which will help them to present in future in
Yes, sir.
front of their employers, and that will help them in their career. Now, does a neutral
I,
accent help in proper phonetics? Is the last question as of now from Dr. Subrata Chattopadhyay. Does a neutral accent help in proper phonetics?
that sir, neutral accent is, we can say, indirectly or in a layman language, it is the standard accent itself. Okay, so definitely that is a workable accent, and that helps a person a lot. Where there is less or no influence of mother tongue or any other language in a language which is spoken, okay, that is termed as what, neutral accent. So definitely that is what expected by the IPA with all these suggestions and directions.
Okay. Okay, so thank you, madam. I think that's the end of the questions. Thank you so much. Thanks to all IEM and UEM family members. And thank you. We will again meet tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.